She believes in the journal and not in the milestones. And Shloka Shankar, a freelance writer from Bangalore who loves experimenting with Japanese short forms of poetry. Her work has appeared in close to 200 online and print venues of repute. She's also the founding editor of the literary and arts journal Sonic Boom. Over to Kalaji.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Yes? Thank you. Ask any painter, musician, or writer, we all work in isolation. For we search deep within and wait for that spark to appear. We create in the void from which all creation arises. Shunyata, if you want to call it that. What we create can bring people together. What we create can bring people together, but the arts can also create artificial divisions when people make judgments about what genre of poetry or music is better than the other. And sadly, we constantly do that. Haiku has not been widely accepted as genuine literature, and many Indian poets I know have said they keep haiku at a distance. Midnight Raga. Midnight Raga. The river gives no reason for its song. Midnight Raga. The river gives no reason for its song. Haiku fits into the world of literature, not exactly as a poetic form, but more as a process of understanding and relating to our daily lives through the five senses, through observation, and most importantly, through negation and the peeling away of the redundancy, which ultimately takes us to the core of our emotions. Of course, you could say that all art forms precisely do that. But haiku does it in just 8 or 9 words. Haiku is sometimes called the wordless poem, and Naad Anunaad, an anthology of contemporary world haiku, is filled with page after page of such beautiful examples. I am reminded of Neil Armstrong, who proclaimed when he planted the first human foot on the moon, "That's one small step for a man, but one giant leap for mankind." The launch of Naad Anunaad here at the Jaipur Lit Fest, I would say, is a giant leap for haiku in India. Thank you. A huge and heartfelt thank you to Namita and William for generously offering to launch our haiku anthology. I thank Geeta Dharmarajan for designing the cover, Alka Yeravadekar for the lovely painting of lilies with ink drawing, Shipra Datta and Namrata Deshpande for the ink drawings inside the anthology. A very big thank you to my publisher, Vishwakarma Publications, to the 231 poets who have lent their beautiful haiku for this anthology. A very big thank you all over the world. They've not just given me their poems, but they gave me around 10 poems of their best from which we chose few. And then we went searching outside if we didn't like what they had given. And after that, we asked them for their publishing credits. And then the publisher said, we want a their copyright permission. Every poet sent me their signed letter so that we can write royally publish the book in India. This is the first time such an anthology is being published from India. Otherwise, it has all come from America, and I have paid 1,800, 2,000 for Amazon to send it over to me. It's just too expensive for students. It's just too expensive for freshers who are coming into haiku. And that was the first motive. And the second best thing about this anthology is there is a youth section which has around 31 haiku from age 7 to age 18 youngsters who have written. And I hope you all enjoy the book. The power of haiku lies in its vulnerability. The power of haiku lies in its brevity and concise construction. The power of haiku lies in its silences. I end with my haiku. Slipping in beneath the kitchen door, slipping in beneath the kitchen door, first sunlight. Slipping in beneath the kitchen door, first sunlight. Thank you. I'm so happy and agreed to launch this and be the chief guest for this occasion, and I request her to take over.
Thank you so
I
much.
would like her to talk about poetry and how she can relate to haiku and what images mean to her, whatever she wants to talk.
Thank you so much, and congratulations, and wonderful that haiku has come to India, because it's a very essential form, very important form, of course, coming from Japan, and has been used as a spiritual practice. And even with some of my own Buddhist teachers, haiku is used like a koan sometimes to respond. So it's a very important form. And I did want to talk about a little bit about the tripartite form, because traditionally there are 3 lines, and one refers to the heaven principle, then the earth principle below, and the man principle. So you have these 3 qualities and directions and trajectories of heaven, earth, man, not always in that order. Many more experimental and modernist and wild poets have worked with the form. It's been a traditional form, of course. It's been taken to other kinds of iterations, in that one doesn't keep necessarily to the syllable count that you have in the traditional Japanese. And so various poets, as we have in this book, have played mainly with the imagery, that the imagery is carrying the haiku tradition and the haiku form. But in the sense of this heaven, earth, man, I wanted to suggest several haiku by some of the Beat Generation writers. Yes. And I'm here at the festival. I was part of a panel talking about some of my elder colleagues, Allen Ginsberg and Jack Kerouac and so on. So Allen Ginsberg has a haiku after basho. If you don't know Japanese, how many people have heard of basho? Ah, very good. Okay, it's a famous haiku, and Allen did a translation, a very modern translation. Old pond, first line. Old pond, second line. The frog jumps in, kerplunk. Old pond, the frog jumps in, kerplunk. And so if you look at that poem, think about what is the heaven principle, what is the earth principle, and what is the man principle. So I'm curious if anybody has an idea. Old pond, the frog jumps in, kerplunk. It's subtle because it could go a number of ways. You have old pond, seems like it would be the earth principle, correct? The pond on the earth, part of nature. The frog jumps in, could be the man principle, the action. It could be the man jumps in. And then the sound of kerplunk. And usually it's translated in a very formal way, sound of water splashing, or splash of water.
There are plenty of translations.
Many, many very good translations. But I wanted to suggest a way that it's been brought up to date with some of the more radical writers, at least from my culture. And so the kerplunk, in a way, is the heaven principle.
The sound.
You all see that?
The sound.
The sound. The sound. It's the heaven principle is often universal. The higher, the image and the logopoeia, the logic or the meaning that takes this precedent. So old pond, earth. The frog jumps in, and the man sees it, and then kerplunk. And the kerplunk is a kind of intervention of the heaven principle, which suggests something ongoing. One more example from the Beat Generation is Jack Kerouac, a poem, haiku poem that goes like this. And keep in mind the heaven, earth, man. In the medicine cabinet, the winter fly has died of old age. Okay, this is Jack Kerouac, haiku. In the medicine cabinet, the winter fly has died of old age. So I think it's more obvious. In the medicine cabinet would be the man principle, because the medicine cabinet is man-made, and it's something familiar to all of us, something humans use and need. The winter fly, which is earth principle, is from this animalia realm, and then died of old age is the heaven principle. Does everybody get that? Anybody disagree with my tripartite? So I'm going to read two poems.
No, we'll release
but I want to give an example of Heaven, Earth, Man. And then we'll sacralize the book after I give an example. Is that okay?
We'll do it your way.
Because
Yes.
I'm trying to give my lesson on
Yes,
haiku.
okay.
This is by Srilatha Nair. And listen closely. From a green mound to an even greener one, the sheep trail, thunderstorm, the eyes of Shiva on her tattoo. I like this one.
It's a beautiful
It has that
one.
nice surprise. So, from a green mound to an even greener one, the sheep trail, thunderstorm, the eyes of Shiva on her tattoo. So what's the earth principle? The green mound? What about the sheep trail? That's part of that. I would say that's still, that's still, I'm so used to standing up when I'm reading. I'm sorry, I'm going crazy. I have to stand. Yes, that's correct. The green mound to an even greener one, the sheep trail. It's part of the same image. And in this case, the poet has, it's not just 3 lines, but there's a kind of continuity.
No, it's actually 2 haiku.
It's 2 haiku.
2 haiku.
Okay, it's
Yes,
2
2
haiku.
haiku.
So, in the first haiku, green mound, greener one, the sheep trail. Heaven, earth, man? What would you say? Well, somebody's clearly writing it. There's a sense of discovery and moving up from the sheep trail to the sheep trail, from the mound to the mound, the even higher mound. Maybe the second mound would be the heaven principle. The sheep trail is the, I would say, the earth principle. And the whole image of this ascent has a kind of heaven principle. The second one, thunderstorm, the eyes of Shiva on her tattoo. So what's the human there? I can't hear you, louder.
Tattoo.
Okay. And thunderstorm? Heaven? Okay. And the other one? The eyes. Yeah. Okay, so that's just an example. So when you are writing your haiku, think of this whether it's 3 lines or 6 lines or however you how you decide to work with this very important traditional form. Think of it also as a kind of philosophy of the tripartite heaven, earth, man principle. And what's so interesting is it's a good spiritual practice because the man is the smaller, the man connects heaven and earth, but it's also the pivot, and it's the poet in there. The man principle is the poet who's seeing the larger and the ground. So I'm not sure what we should do next is read. We put it in the special holy wrapping.
Yes. No, there's a book here. You can take the book out. Yes. You can stand up maybe.
This is the definitive book.
Yes. 1 second. I wanted Adip and Maruk to come over, please. Adip, come over. They have a poem here. They have a haiku printed here. He's my student and she's a member of our club.
So you have a haiku club?
Yes.
Good.
Please come.
Hi.
Go that side. Adip, come.
Hi, welcome.
Yes. Hold the book. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, thank you.
It has a very good introduction that I highly recommend.
Yes, thank you.
A lot of very valuable information in terms of its relationship to Buddhism, to the rasa, these various qualities. It also mentions the wonderful mantra Gate,
Yes.
Parasamgate, which I had not realized has the syllables of a haiku. So I learned something from this.
You know, the one beautiful thing about relating haiku to Indian thinking was the Panchabhutas. When I read about it, I literally had goosebumps. They say Akash, we have the 5 senses. Haiku is about the 5 senses. The first is Akash, where you hear only the sound. The ether, Akash, just the sound. Next comes the wind or the Vayu, which is sound and touch. You can hear the breeze and you can feel the breeze touching your hair or your neck or your hair thing or blows your sari. So it's touch. So Akash is sound and Vayu is touch. Next comes Agni or fire, where with your eyes you can see the form. So first is ears, sound, next is touch. You touch, and the third is fire, where you can see the form. The fourth is Jalam, water, where you can taste. Isn't that beautiful? I'm talking about an ancient principle of Panchabhutas tied to the 5 senses, and which so closely ties up to haiku. And the last is Prithvi, the earth, which has the odor or the smell. So all the 5 senses are what we write about in haiku. So when I take my students out for a walk, which is called a Ginku walk, I tell them to keep all their 5 senses open so that they come back and they write their poem and they share the poem with others. This is yours. Yeah.
Just to give you a taste, there was one I was going to...
Is it this one?
There's so many good and surprising
There are
haiku,
plenty of
many.
beautiful poems.
Something for everyone. I had it marked. 300, this is Alexis Rotella. 300 miles away, my father makes sure I hear him sigh. Around the corner, summer waits in a yellow dress. Ghost to know there. Mastectomy. She wakes up alone.
This is Kirsty Karkow. She's an American poet. She's also an editor. Spring Sense. The dog and I walk through different worlds. Spring Sense. The dog and I walk through different worlds.
Temple Bell. The lone bird adds its cry. Early morning, the sweeper gathers autumn wind.
Summer storm. The windscreen wipers slice our silence. You see the uncomfortable, maybe they were a couple, they had a fight, or maybe there was some bad news. Nothing is told. It's just a part of a story that you continue in your mind. Summer storm, the windscreen wipers slice our silence, by Jo. She's a Australian poet.
1-to-1 ratio, the white pills and dusk. Beneath her voice, a timbre of something crumbling. Wrapped in a blackbird sunrise remains a legend. Not mine the space I can hold in one hand. That's Johannes S.H. Berg.
Yes, Berg. Jim Cation's self-portrait, some truth in the smudges. Self-portrait, some truth in the smudges.
I'll read this for the Women's March on Washington, the protest. This is Hema Ravi. Women's Day, eating leftovers.
And this is called a Senryu. Haiku is more based on nature, with a touch of human nature, and Senryu is completely about human nature. 3 times I've said, your husband. Now we can just talk. By John Stevenson.
Lee Gurga. Walking a white parabolo afternoon cicadas, a container for medical waste, third from the sun. Morning birdsong requiring quotation marks. 2 boys, the last pile of dirty snow.
Anita Virgil, choking. He keeps explaining how he choked. Choking. He keeps explaining how he choked. Really alone, really in italics, really alone, an itch on my back I can't reach.
Faye Oyagi. Who will write my obituary? Winter persimmon. A hierarchy of apples in the moonlight. Icy rain at the bottom of the lake, a door to yesterday. Ants out of a hole. When did I stop playing the red toy piano? A hole in my sweater. I ask him one more time what he meant. Night chill, rearranging the order of canned soups.
Hema Ravi, she just dabbles a little bit in haiku. She's written a Senryu. Women's Day, eating leftovers. Women's Day, eating leftovers.
I just read that.
Oh, you did.
But good, more for Women's Day, Women's Day.
Okay, I didn't
okay.
know.
No. Carolyn Hall, New Year's Day, the center of the chocolate, not what I expected. So suddenly winter, baby teeth at the bottom of the button jar, rain-streaked windows, how to paint the finch's song, plum blossoms, I make plans for my ashes, tulip bulbs, that first piano recital still in my fingers. So this is, I just want to make clear that this is a sequence, a haiku sequence.
Yeah.
So there are 5 clusters.
Ed Marcosi. Temple path, the dust I kick up sticks to me. Isn't that deep?
This is Barshani
Lovely.
Gokala.
Get this.
Size 0, the roundness of a donut.
Good. So thank you.
Thank you very
I
much.
hope you
for your
enjoyed.
attention. Check out the book, and you
Yes.
can write haiku yourself.
Yes, you should. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.